So I recently did a video where I talked about the unemployment rate that has increased from 3.7 to 3.9 in the last 1 month, and also talked about the unexpected increase in the job market. The anticipated amount was supposed to be 165,000. That was a projection. But when the report came out, we saw that it was about 270 to 275,000 jobs added. And I also talked about the inflation. And the reason why I brought our focus back to it is because of the macro market. These have large effect on you choosing to do any form of investment in a country or in a state. The macro economy of that country is very, very important. So what are the implications of all this in taking a decision whether to invest in a multifamily or whatever investment that you decide to do? The macro economy plays a very large role, and it's very important that you take it as the first step before you choose a country or a state to invest in. So for the US, inflation rose up last year in June to about 9%, and right now it's about 3-point-something% at this moment. And the Fed is actually looking to take it down to about 2%. If that will happen, nobody knows. We don't know, but they are doing everything that they can to ensure that they push it down to 2%. That is why we are saying they've been increasing interest rate consistently for almost 2 years. But at this point, interest rate has been on a standstill. We don't know what decision they are going to take. They're also studying the effect of whatever decision that they will take. So why am I bringing us to this is because of how we are able to decide that multifamily is the right investment for us to do at this point in time, and how to narrow it down from the beginning down to the operational part of it. What was the first step that we took? The first thing that we did in deciding to do a multifamily was to first of all study the macroeconomy. What is the macroeconomy doing? What's the job rate? And what is the renter market versus the multifamily market? What are people moving towards, owning their own homes or rather renting? And all that. So these are the studies that we get to do. Are people able to afford home? Affordability, has it become top on the minds of people? So these are things that will determine what kind of investment, if you're going into multifamily. The macroeconomy will plays a very strong impact in making that decision. Before we decided to invest in a market such as Dallas, there were some things we looked out for. We looked at the rental market versus the multifamily market. What is going on based on the macroeconomy? And we noticed that because of affordability issues, the migration issues, Texas, California, Chicago, New York are one of the highest areas where we are seeing a large influx of migration. So when you have more people in a location, it puts a lot of pressure on homes. It puts a lot of pressure in renters. It puts a lot of pressure in schools, social amenities. So all these things have a ripple effect on things like that. So that's why we constantly pay attention to it. So we've seen that Texas, Florida, and North Carolina are one of the highest amount of migration. That is where people are moving to. It can be based on different things. It can be based on affordability. It can be based on political issues. It can be based on climatic issues. So we're seeing a lot of people moving towards those areas based on different things that fits their lifestyles and all that. This effect trickles down to our decision in deciding where to invest. So locations like Texas, Florida, and North Carolina are top priority because of the rate at which people are moving there. You don't want to buy a property and don't have anybody stay on the property. So you want to check how that is affecting affordability. Another thing you also want to check is the supply. Is there a very high supply in that market and all that? How will that affect your decision? So for example, in an area where you have a lot of construction going in, influx of many multifamily, how will that affect your vacancies, your occupancy? This will have a large effect on it because people at this point will have various options to go to. So you might see in those kind of areas, you see a lot of vacancies and occupancy issues because there are choices for them to pick from. In the case whereby we have the reverse of it, we have less new build coming into the market and all that, you find that consider that cases like that, you see people increasing rent and going way and above, having a lot of rental bump on their market. So the macroeconomy plays a large effect in we taking our decision on where to invest. So the next thing we do, which I just spoke about slightly when I was talking about the macroeconomy, is the market selection. So after deciding how does the macroeconomy affect your decision, the next thing is for you to decide on the market. So that's market selection. We have inflation affecting every part of the market. We have affordability issues affecting the market. We know that the Fed is constantly increasing interest rates. You know how the interest rate is affecting inflation. So the next thing for you to do is the market selection. So you want to see how the population is growing in different states and how it can affect your decision. You want to see where people are migrating. So like I said, I spoke about it briefly. You want to see where people are migrating from and leaving, and you want to know why those things are happening. Are these long-term decisions, or these are just happening because of now? So like I said earlier on, migration has played a massive role where population growth has been in some states and all that. So you want to watch out for that and take a decision based on the population. Not just the population growth, you also want to know the income. Yes, people can be there, but can they really pay if your house is not affordable? So you want to check the affordability in that market. What is their media income? How much are they earning? If your rent is at this, will they be able to pay, or will they be delinquent in their rent? So a market selection is very, very important. We really dived into that in deciding, okay, we want to be in the Pennsylvania market. We also want to be in the Dallas market. Some of our partners are in the North Carolina market and in the Florida market. So based on all these factors, you see people making those kind of decisions and all that. So market selection is the next step before you decide, I want to invest or I want to take this investment decision. So selecting a market is a big picture. So like I just mentioned, Texas is massive, but it does not necessarily mean that all the growth is in every part of Texas. So we are seeing some parts of Texas that are declining. That is, people are moving from different cities to another form of city. So you want to take a deep dive into the city. You want to be specific, make it a smaller research. Like for example, it's Texas. Now you want to deep dive into cities. You want to know exactly what is going on in those cities. Now, what you want to watch out for me, what I always watch out for when I'm diving into cities, the population growth of that city. How are people coming in? Why are they coming? Are they coming to stay long, or they're just driving past it, or it's just a short time decision and all that? I also want to look at the construction, the inventory supply of new builds in that area. I want to know how much is it, how much can it affect my projections. Like for example, if I'm projecting I'm going to increase my rent by 3%, and if there's a large construction in that area, please note that that will affect your projections, because when we have new builds or new properties in that area, you might not be able to get that rent bump. So you also want to dive deep into that market. Is the population growth increasing or is shrinking? How many companies are coming into them investing? How much are they earning? What's the media income? What's the population growth within 1 mile radius of where you want to invest in? 2 mile, 3 mile. We also want to check this before you take that decision. So once you've decided on the city where you want to invest in, so for example, in Texas, I decided I want to invest in Dallas, a metro area, that is the Dallas-Fort Worth, Dallas. And it's just because of all these reasons I've mentioned. We are seeing a lot of migration in these areas. We are seeing affordability issues. That is, people are deciding, is rather than owning a home at this point, because there's affordability issue in being a landlord, I would rather rent and all that. The supply inventory for the Dallas market, yes, it's growing, but we are seeing that the builds that are going to be in this area, the ones that have already been given permit to, in the next 18 to 24 months, they will be in the market. But after that, we're not seeing any large form of new inventory. So that is good for us in the long run and all that. After we finish doing this, the next thing for us is to now start building a team. So I want to start getting my brokers. I want to start getting my property management company and all that. So at this point, you want to get your team. So you want to get your brokers, you want to get your property manager, you want to get your lender, everything that's supposed to help you make your investment very easy. You want to build your team at this point. So after you've done this, it's at this point you now make a decision on the property. So you don't choose the property before going through this entire entire process. One thing you should understand that is the same fundamental, it does not change. So for example, if I decide that I don't want to invest in Dallas, I want to invest in another state, I have to go through the entire process on that before I get to selecting a property in a different location. So I have to check the market, the macroeconomy, choose market selection. After doing my market selection, I have to dive deep into the city. After diving deep into the city, then I have to choose my team before I finally choose the property. So getting a property is not the first thing. So I see a lot of people getting a property before even diving deep into the market, the city, and all that. So all these things will have to come first before you choose your property. So because you would have created a relationship with maybe a broker, you might be able to get a property, you put it under contract. So the next thing for you to do is to perform due diligence. So I recently did a video on a live deal where we are currently doing a preliminary due diligence. I was walking people on the steps that I'm taking to ensure that I'm performing the proper due diligence on that property. So you want to go through the entire due diligence. You want to check the financial due diligence, the physical due diligence, the legal and the title due diligence, the risk management due diligence. You want to go through the entire process, the contract due diligence, everything you have to do. So it's not just you visiting the property. There are many things for you to do. It's a comprehensive process for you to do before you decide that, yes, this is a property for me to do. After you perform your due diligence, let's say you decide to close on the deal, the next is for you to do the operations. The operation is one of the critical aspects of it. So you don't want to go through the entire process and you lack in the operations. So executing the right operations, getting the right property management, and you as the asset manager, ensuring that they're on top of their games and all that is very, very critical. Before we choose a market, we typically go through this procedures in ensuring that our investors' money is safe, that we've gone through the rigorous processes and ensuring that we are doing the right thing and we have the right investment in the right state, in the right city, with the right set of people, and we've conducted the right due diligence and we have the right operational skills to manage it. For those of you that are into multifamily or you are deciding to invest in multifamily, what are the steps that you are taking ensuring that you have the right property under contract? I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.